Hello friends, welcome to Insights Icon Initiative. In today's video, we are going to discuss about ozone depletion. This particular topic is related to environment, and first we will see the syllabus mapping, then video components. Before we go further in this video, first let us see syllabus mapping. This particular topic is related to General Studies paper 3 and the topic is environment and climate change. The video components we are going to cover, why it is in news. It is in news because ozone hole was observed by European Space Agency satellite. What is the radius of the perimeter of that ozone hole and everything we are going to discuss. And what is the name of the satellite also we will discuss. Then we will discuss what is this ozone layer and what is a good ozone and what is a bad ozone. If you already know about that, please put your answer in the comment section. Okay, which ozone is the good one and which one is the bad one. And then we will discuss about what are the causes of the ozone hole and what are the conventions related to the protection of ozone layer. Two important conventions we will discuss. And finally, we will discuss about various types of UV radiation and what are the strengths and which UV radiation is most dangerous to human beings. That we are going to discuss. Before further details, first let us see where is this ozone layer is present. First we have to know Earth. On top of the Earth, we have different layers of atmosphere. The first layer is troposphere, after the stratosphere, and the next atmospheric layers such as mesosphere, thermosphere, also known as ionosphere and exosphere present. This ozone layer which we are talking now is present in the stratosphere. Generally, the stratosphere height is in between 10 to 50 kilometers. When this UV radiation, before it reaching to Earth, some of the strongest UV radiation is stopped by this ozone layer. But the problem is, when this ozone layer experiences some ozone depleted chemicals such as CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, HFCs, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, halogens and methyl bromides. When these chemicals are exposed to ozone layer, then ozone layer starts depleting in a way that the chlorine molecule present in these chemical substances, they go and bind with the ozone layer and they dissociate one of the oxygen from the ozone molecule. That means ozone will be dissociated into oxygen. Okay, the chlorine atom breaks up the ozone molecule and it makes a hole in ozone layer. As the ozone layer depletes, it leads to the ozone hole. And this through ozone hole, very powerful and harmful UV radiation they manage to reach to the Earth's surface, and which is very dangerous to human being. Okay, that is our concern. Now let us see, this is the ozone destruction cycle and how the chlorine atom is binding with the ozone and how it is dissociating the ozone. You can see here through this chlorine destruction cycle, this ozone destruction cycle, ozone molecule is getting converted into oxygen molecule. In this process, chlorine monoxide is getting formed. This is the ozone destruction cycle. Now, why it is in news? In the beginning of this video, I told you that European Space Agency satellite observed pretty much significant ozone hole. That is, which European Space Agencies, what is the name of that satellite? The name of the satellite is Copernicus Sentinel-5P. This is the satellite name, and it is detected around 26 million square kilometers hole in the ozone layer. Actually, these forming ozone holes are very quite common in the Antarctic region. Previously, they used to, fill themselves. This, as we are reducing the hydrofluorocarbons, those ozone holes used to get filled up. But nowadays, these ozone layers are becoming quite significant and they are very alarming in nature. And of course, they are causing even climate action. It also leading to the cooling effect on the Earth's surface because of this, preventing of greenhouse gases. Okay. That is one of the effect of these ozone holes in the Earth atmosphere. Now the ozone molecules. Normally ozone molecules present when sunlight experiences the oxygen molecule, and the entire Earth atmosphere consists of around 21% of the oxygen and 0.001% of the ozone. That is the composition of the ozone. Then what is this ozone layer? This ozone layer is a gaseous layer which is present in the stratosphere of the Earth atmosphere. It is present generally between 15 to 35 kilometers above the Earth's surface. And the ozone creation. Ozone is composed of 3 atoms of oxygen, like earlier we discussed. There is good ozone as well as a bad ozone. If the ozone is present in the stratosphere, it serves its purpose, so we consider that as a good ozone. And if the same ozone is present in the troposphere, that don't serve its exact purpose, so we can consider that as a bad ozone. Here the stratospheric ozone. The stratospheric ozone, as I mentioned earlier, it formed naturally and it interacts with the UV radiation. This particular ozone stops UV radiation reaching to Earth's surface, so we can call it as a good ozone. And the tropospheric or ground level ozone, it is a bad ozone because humans breathe this ozone and it formed primarily from the photochemical reactions, and it is not good for the human health. Because of the UV radiation is more intense at higher altitude, this ozone layer present in the stratosphere, it is more significant to human life. The significance of this ozone layer, like we discussed, it acts as a protective gas shield that absorbs the UV radiation, and it protects humans and ecosystem from dangerous amounts of the UV radiation. Even if this ozone layer would have not been there, this persistent exposure to UV radiation would have caused skin cancer and various other types of the serious health hazards. Measuring the stratospheric ozone. So generally, for every particular thing, how we will measure is also important. The ozone present in stratosphere, we can measure the ozone in terms of the Dobson units. One Dobson unit is nothing but when we spread the ozone at the average sea level and at average temperature with thickness of 0.01 mm thickness, if you spread this ozone at this temperature and at this pressure, that amount of that ozone is nothing but one Dobson unit. So in examination point of view, you have to remember these particular values as well as the name of the unit as well. Next, what is this ozone hole? For the first time in 1984, this ozone hole, which was significant, was detected in Antarctic. This was the ozone layer over the Antarctic's Haley Bay Research Station, which had almost all, like 1/3 of its thickness compared to the previous decades. It lost one third of its thickness over the few decades. The thinning of the ozone layer over Antarctica, it came to be known as ozone hole. And majorly this ozone hole was caused by the widespread use of chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons. After observing this kind of trend, we ratified so many conventions across the global level to reduce the usage of the chlorofluorocarbons, and we identified some of the substances which are damaging the ozone, and we try to reduce the usage of those substances as well. Ozone depletion, mainly, like I said earlier, halogens such as chlorine and bromine, when they come in contact with the ozone, they obviously destroy the ozone molecule. In the beginning we discussed that ozone destruction cycle. One chlorine atom, obviously it can destroy almost all 1 lakh, that is 100,000 ozone molecules. So you can understand the impact of the chlorine, impact of the halogen atoms on the ozone layer. Next, what caused the ozone hole this year? Actually, this ozone hole reasons, it is not exactly due to the global warming, global climate change. These ozone hole phenomena, mainly these are due to some of the incidents happening over the years. Last year, for example, previous years, due to the Australian wildforest fire, that because of that ozone layer, this ozone depletion was happened. Recently, this ozone hole was happened due to this volcanic eruption in Pacific Ocean, Tonga volcano eruption. Because of that, this ozone depletion was happened. It was mainly due to the Tonga volcanic eruption. And when this ozone hole actually, it also, the extent of this ozone hole depletion is also depends on Earth's rotation. When Earth's rotation of that Earth's, when it causes special winds over the closer landmass of Antarctic, that means it creates certain mini climates and it creates a shield over the Antarctic and prevent it from mixing with the surrounding air. When the winds die down, that means when again the Earth's rotation changes, the same Antarctic region experiences lack of winds. When there are no winds, obviously the ozone hole closes up. So sometimes it also depends on the Earth's rotation as well. Okay, so whether the ozone hole expands or ozone hole fills up, it depends on the Earth's rotation as well. Like I said, This Honga Chonga Hyunga volcanic eruption, it caused this ozone depletion, because this volcanic eruption releases lot of water vapor, and this water vapor affected the ozone layer present in stratosphere. It increased the heating rate in the stratosphere. Because of that heating rate, ozone destruction was accelerated. That is the reason. Vienna Convention. We'll see some of the conventions which are aimed at protecting the ozone layer. Vienna Convention. It was made in 1985, and its main objective is to promote the cooperation among the nations to exchange information related to human activities which are causing the ozone depletion. Now tell me students, Vienna present in which country? Quite often Vienna name appears. Next, Montreal Protocol 1987. It is related to identifying some substances which are leading to the ozone depletion. After we ratified this convention, this entire at global level, around 100 man-made chemicals we identified as ozone depleting substances. And all these various countries, they try to regulate these ozone depleting substances. Next, Kigali Agreement. Around 197 countries, they come together to reduce the hydrofluorocarbons by 2045 compared to their base level around 85%. So compared to their base level, by 2045 they would like to reduce by 85%. Kigali Agreement. These are the three international agreements which are very significant in relation to the ozone depletion. Is climate change reopening ozone holes? Obviously, global climate change is affecting, but that effect is very less. That is in the form of the Earth's rotation, like I said earlier. But this opening up of ozone holes are occurring mainly due to the isolated incidents like volcanic eruption and Australian wildfires, which happened in the 2020. And of course, these ozone holes also affecting the climate change, and even they are causing the cooling effects due to the reduction of the global warming. And as we discussed, this ozone layer is stopping the UV radiation. You have to know what are the different types of UV rays. UV rays, based on their wavelengths, we can identify the UV rays into three categories: UV, A, B, and C category. And C category, these are the most dangerous one, and these are the highest energy portion of the UV radiation, and these are the ones blocked by ozone layers. And if ozone layer gets depleted, we are going to affected very seriously by this UV C category rays, whereas UVA and UVB compared to UVC are mild in nature. UVA longer wavelength, 95% of this they reach to the Earth's surface. UVB, they are the short wavelength, even they reach up to the outer layer of the skin. So this is about the UV rays categorization. Now let's see yesterday's video question. With reference to Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation, consider the following statements. Out of this, which one is true? It was established very recently, not very recently, wrong. It is not at all related to oil spills. It is an alliance meant for maritime security, not only. It also related to promotion of cooperation in disaster management and various humanitarian assistance as well. So both the statements are wrong. Now let's see today's MCQ question. Which one of the following is associated with the issue of control and phasing out of the use of ozone depleting substance? Which protocol is related to this controlling and phasing out of the ozone depleting substances? Out of these four, which one is true? Mains question. What is ozone layer depletion? And evaluate the efforts being made to protect the ozone layer. That means you have to know various international conventions related to it. Now, as we reach to the end of this video, we will revise quickly. In this video, we discussed about ozone layer depletion was observed by European Space Agency satellite. And then we discussed about ozone destruction cycle. Later, we discussed about stratosphere and how ozone will be formed and what is the significance of ozone. Then we discussed about various international conventions related to ozone and various categories of UV radiations. This is the detailed analysis regarding the ozone depletion.